everybody. Hope you're doing marvelously well. In this episode, we're going to try out iZotope's new RX-8. So we're very excited to try this. We've been using RX-7 for a while now, since it came out, mainly on our vocal stuff, on our speech stuff. When we go to studios, you can get a lot of reverb in the vocals, in the big live rooms. You can have little buzzes and clicks from clip-on mics, all of the things you'd expect. But one of the big upgrades on this, and one of the things I really want to try, of course, is the music rebalance. The ability to go in there and separate elements out. Apparently, you can do vocals, you can do bass, you can do percussion, and then a section they call other, which will be like guitars and synths and all that stuff loaded in. So I'm really excited to try this out. So we've got a track here that's pretty slammed.
I can see through it now. You think that I'm blind, I'm not blind. I wouldn't mind one more go. Backseat, weigh me down.
So it's slammed. There's a lot of schnizzle going on. So here it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this track. So we're just going to do the vocals. Let's just render it and see what we get. Let's see what we got.
Backseat, weigh me down. I ain't no sleeves that you found. Think you're gonna pull your socks off. Get it, boy, won't get your rocks off. Backseat, lay me down. I ain't no sleeves that
I don't care who you are, but that's pretty miraculous. If you want a learning tool to learn a song, and you know how dense this mix was, this is incredible.
Backseat, weigh me down. I ain't no sleeves that you found. Think you're gonna pull your
For me, it's like when I started off, if I'd had a tool like this where I could just isolate a vocal out, this is going to be a great tool for teaching and for learning songs. It's really good. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate that. Now I'm going to heal this back up again, just for snitch and sniggles. Go to that same section. Now let's do the same thing with the bass. Let's render it, and this for the bass. Again, an amazing tool. You want to figure out the bass line? Off you go. Really great. Let's do the same thing. You can see why I'm duplicating it here. Let's go up here. And now let's hear the percussion elements. This could be really awesome if this works well. I'm dying to hear these three things together.
backseat, weigh me down. I ain't no sleeves that you found. Think you're gonna pull your socks off. Get it, boy, won't get your rocks off. Backseat, lay me down. I ain't no sleeves that you found. Think you're gonna pull your socks off. Get it, boy, won't get your rocks off.
It's pretty awesome. I'm really loving this. This is crazy. What an amazing learning tool, as well as like a potential remixer, try to figure out drum grooves, all that kind of stuff. It's really amazing. And this is pretty darn accurate, bearing in mind this is a song I wrote and produced. So I know it pretty well. Okay, last but no means least, what they're calling other. So I presume that's all the melody instruments that's remained. You know, I just want to listen to all those things together. Here we go.
Backseat, weigh me down. I ain't no sleeves that you found. Think you're gonna pull your socks off. Get it, boy, won't get your rocks off. Backseat, lay me down. I ain't no sleeves that you found. Think you're gonna pull your socks off. Get it, boy, won't get your rocks off.
What a really, really cool tool. Really cool. Now, is it going to be like super hi-fi? No. But is it going to be really, really good for like maybe pulling some grooves off records? Then it makes me just want to fire up a turntable and dump some stuff in and just start pulling out grooves. You know, trying to figure out what the drummer's playing, trying to figure out the groove of the song that you absolutely love. You love this bar, you can't figure it out, you load it in. Really fantastic tool. I didn't know that you could do this. This is really fantastic. One of the new features is the guitar denoiser. We have a bass line here, and this is an amp with a distortion pedal on it, and it's a slap bass line. And you can hear that bzzz going the whole time. Let's grab the denoiser, specifically called Guitar Denoise. Obviously using it on a bass, but we'll try on a guitar in a second. All right, so I'm going to find a noisy section. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the buzz. So let's go and hit Learn. Okay. So now that we've learned that, let's listen to it. We'll play it without RX doing its thing. Huge difference. So that's what it does on a bass amp. Let's try it out on a guitar. So here we have a little subtle guitar part. But you can hear a lot of buzz and noise. So here, before the guitar plays, that's the offending noise. So let's have it learn that. It says amp noise profile learned. Oh, wow. You know it's working when it does that. Okay, so let's take that section now, highlight it, preview it. Remarkable. I'm not even touching the resolution. There's a before. Absolutely remarkable. After. Okay, so we got rid of the noise, but there's a squeak in it. Look at that. So let's turn this on. I'm going to take a longer section, see if I can loop it. Oh. Oh my God. All right, just remind you what it sounded like before. Now what it sounds like. That's remarkable. Okay, so I'm going to take this whole little breakdown section, this little piece here, and we'll render it. Let's have a listen. Amazing. There was another squeak that came up here. It's gone. Here is a before. Buzz. Squeak. Another squeak. Another squeak. So 3 squeaks. Now, redo it. Remarkable. As we say in the lovely UK, what a bunch of boffins. Really, really smart guys and girls. So we got rid of the amp noise. We got rid of the squeak on it. So let's try the same plug-in here on acoustic guitars because I'll get a lot of squeaks on it. have to worry about the amp noise. I want to see what the pick does, quite frankly. I'm just going to take a little bit here and see what it's going to do. So play it. Okay, so it really is that pick. So it's going to be really interesting on those super, super clicky kind of acoustic guitars where you've got too much zazza and you've got this. I mean, that's a really sparkly, bright acoustic. I actually kind of like it, but let's just say it was a little too brittle for the track. Let's see what this does. Huge difference. So absolutely massive. That would be really, really good for like an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar that had like really ultra percussive elements in it, from the pick hitting the strings, from probably also maybe the strings hitting the pickup, giving you that kind of slappiness. So here we have a vocal with the rather wonderful Katie Laurel, a good friend of mine, incredible singer. And she was singing into a 57 and it was a scratch vocal. And we really liked the performance. She's an amazing singer. As we were putting down other instruments, she was singing along. We loved it. Problem is that the AC was pumping like crazy, and we got this.
Life is more than this world. Life is more than.
There's even a little bit of room in there as well, which we could work on. But have a listen to this. So we can get it to learn that. So let's go and grab D-hum. Oh, I like that. So I turn the slope up there. It's focusing more on the low lows. Oh, that's remarkable. Here it is. Okay, that's great. Let's take this section here of vocals with all the humming and everything.
Life is more than this war we're waging. I put up my periscope. Life is more than this war we're waging. I put up.
Okay, let's play it before.
Life is more than.
Or it's
this
bad.
war we're waging. I put up my periscope.
And now.
Life is more than this war we're waging. I put up my periscope. Life is more than this war we're waging. I put up my periscope. Life is more than.
Fantastic.
This war we're waging. I put up my periscope.
Okay. I rest my case. Rather wonderful. So here's some dialogue we recorded here, actually, with a mic that was on the ground. And there's a lot of, I won't say a lot, but there's a decent amount of ambience in it. A vocal stem on its own for remixers who want to take the vocal and do it. And now like stereo drums, stereo guitars, stereo keyboards, the programmed elements, taking all of. So you can hear the room in there. There's also a little bit of a buzz in there. So let's open up the standalone version of this. Okay, so here it is. It's highlighted the whole thing. So let's have a quick listen in here. Band playing, the music playing. A vocal stem on its own. D-reverb. Let's hit that there. It's pretty straightforward what it's going to do here. See, here's the amount of reduction. If we hit preview, we can hear it. For remixers who want to take the vocal and do it. And now like stereo drums, stereo guitars, stereo keyboards, the programmed elements, taking all, let's listen to it without that applied, all of those and using them as well. Ultimately, that is the world of pop. And when I mean pop, I don't mean just, talking about Ariana Grande. I mean like popular music, radio music, Spotify. But if you want a classic 70s rock feel, it's pretty darn good. Now, obviously, I can look here and decide what frequencies, I want to remove. What I do like about this is I can listen in solo. So if I hit preview. Vocals, you could always hear them. They had a really good sense of how to make instruments work. But a lot of classic stuff, particularly the Stones, the vocals are really buried in there, and it's an interesting feeling because it feels more like a band. It feels like a singer, in a band, working in a band. So I think that's a very, very important thing. It's like, what is the genre? If you're going for a band feel, you might want to just tuck those vocals. That'll put the reverb on it. Tension maybe on a last chorus when there's a solo playing at the same time as the singer. And play it normally. And there's a little bit of a fight. It creates a little bit of anxiety, but in a kind of cool way of like, a little bit of tension. And that's a lot of rock music. So it really comes down to what you're going for. If you're going for a band kind of composition, it's a rock band, you can blend the vocals in there as another instrument. Maybe a slightly featured, but an instrument nonetheless. But if you're going to go pop, you're going to think radio, you're going to think Spotify streaming. That's a pretty good balance. As I'm hearing the reduction coming in, I'm hearing a very, very slight kind of like movement in it, and with the reduction balanced back, that's pretty darn good. Services, all of that. Press preview stuff, you're going to have to just nudge that vocal above. Fantastic. Now I can render it. So this here an un-RX'd version and the RX version. With the backgrounds, but no lead vocal. An instrumental, no vocals, no backgrounds, nothing, just the band playing, the music playing. A vocal stem on its own for remixers who want to take the vocal and do it. And now like stereo drum. Now, obviously, that wasn't the worst reverberated vocal I've ever heard. We probably ended up not even doing it on the finished one. We probably just used there. But you can see it's a wonderful tool. Okay, so this is a really, really good tool. It's not cheap. If you want to get the full thing, it is quite expensive. However, these are the kind of tools that only 10 years ago were in their infancy and people were using. But if you're a mastering engineer, you're a mixer, especially if you're mastering anything, think of the amount of work you can get from just like going back through people giving you old cassettes and mini discs and old CDs and whatever, all different types of recordings, something off a phone, the fact that you can take it and clean it up now and give it back to people. It's remarkable. Makes me want to go through all of my old cassettes from when I was a kid and just kind of clean them all up. This is a fantastic tool. If you really are seriously a mixer or mastering engineer, this is going to be really huge for you. They've got a lot of big endorsements. I'm not surprised. This is going to save me in a lot of situations. I'm really, really impressed with this. The thing about the Music Rebalance I really like is that we do a lot of covers of great tracks when we're trying out microphones. We do the one mic test. And now what I'm going to be able to do is, especially on some of these older tracks where they're really glued together is a nice way of putting it. Sometimes they're just pure mush. I love Layla. It's one of my favorite songs ever, but it was really hard to dissect exactly what was being played between bass and guitars, and the kick drum was pretty much a big blob. And a tool like this would really help to get in there and figure out the bass line. In the end, I just played what I wanted to play, because I wanted it to follow the guitar line exactly. But in retrospect, it didn't really follow the guitar line exactly. It did its own thing. You get what I'm saying? That is a fantastic tool. So especially if you want to learn the song as a singer, that you can separate all of the elements out and then mute the vocal. And now you can sing along with one of your favorite songs. And you also have a soloed vocal, so you can learn the parts. What an amazing tool. Absolutely incredible. I'm really, really impressed with this. Like I said, it's not inexpensive. It does use a lot of CPU. When we were doing the music rebalance in the standalone version, it took a lot of CPU power to sit there and analyze it. It was actually quicker to render it with Audio Suite, which is perfectly fine, and then listen to it. That took a few seconds, listen to it, rather than try to play it in real time in preview. But, if you've got a super, super fast computer and it is your job to master stuff, or it is your job, to clean up tracks or whatever it might be, then that's probably going to work wonders for you. This is going to get a lot of love. Really great product. Very impressed. The guitar denoiser alone is pretty darn good for guys and girls like us that are making guitar music all day. That could be a lifesaver. When I think of that story that Shelley Yakus told us about Mark Knopfler, about that beautiful guitar tone he had when he had turned it down super, super low, but it was all and tss. I mean, he figured it out. He had to get in there on the mid-range and boost it up to get that lead part in Romeo and Juliet from Making Movies, one of my favorite songs and one of my favorite guitar sounds. With RX, he would have done it in nanoseconds. Anyway, but Shelley's a genius. Thank you, iZotope, for letting us try this out. Really appreciate it. Highly recommend it. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. If you've been using RX over the years, this is obviously version 8. If you've been using it, let us know your experiences. Are you a professional mastering engineer? Are you a mixer? Or do you just love it because you like the tools that it gives you? Just let us know. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Thank you ever so much. Speak to you all again very soon.